All right, let's hope this is working. I'm going to invite Sarah again. Oh, excuse me. All right, I think it's working better. I can see myself, I can see you.
I can see that baby.
She just woke up, which is why I'm a few minutes late. I was like, oh, right on cue.
I just got Winter down for her nap, like right now.
Oh my goodness. I know this one. Oh, now you want food. Yeah, she just woke up. I was getting ready and then I heard mum, 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 mum. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, perfect theme for what we're talking about today.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect thing, guys, which is we just have to start right off the bat. We're talking about um, how we juggle it all, or how moms juggle it all, or how women juggle it all. Is that a fire behind you, by the way?
Yeah, I'm perpetually freezing.
That is so beautiful. I have
Thank you. Yeah, it's in my bedroom. So I just sit here. I'm always cold and Mark's always hot. So he's sweating and I'm constantly putting the fire on, but because he's away, I can put it on whenever I want.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
I'm always freezing.
You can make it as warm and cozy as you want to. Somebody just shared that they have our book and they love it and they're pregnant and I'm just so happy. Thank you so much. Um, Thank you everybody for joining us today for this live and virtual book tour. And we're discussing the juggle. And also I kind of like that we're weaving in that whole like sleep procrastination thing into the juggle, because I think they partner, they go hand in hand, and I was doing
Yeah,
but can you just tell everybody what you're doing right now, like in like Mark's out of town and like what's happening in your world?
sure. I sent Sarah and I, we voice text back to each other because we're always in the car driving children around. So we're always voice texting. And I was like, I'm having a crazy day
Um,
because I have the five kids on my own right now. And my mum's back in Australia. So it's just like me and five kids. But I have to say, Isaac's at the age now, he's about to be 14, where it's almost easier having five than it is having four because he's such a good, responsible big brother. Um, but yeah, so it's school runs every morning, waking everyone up, getting everyone ready, piling them into the car, driving 40 minutes to do a school drop off, driving back at the house, unpacking. We moved into this beautiful new home, but there are boxes everywhere. As you can see, we're in my bedroom. Boom, boom, boom. All of those.
I
So
love
not even sort of settled yet in the house, but Mark is off working. So he's going to go make the money. I'm holding down the fort with the kids, doing the juggle, but it's good.
I mean, it's so funny because, okay, so yesterday Teresa leaves me this message, and I really do feel like when you're doing a lot of the juggling as a parent, like if you're, even when you have a partner who's there and helping 100%, right? Like life is a juggle in general. But I always say that it's much easier when you have somebody around that you can say, like, I walk from one room to another and I'm like, oh, Winter was just trying to poop in my closet. And simultaneously, Esme was like screaming at Wyatt. And so that can be really stressful, and you can take on all the energy of the kids. Or like if
Yeah,
you to like voice text or voice message really quick, or if your partner's around, for some reason, like having someone to talk to you about it, it makes it funny or just
it
less of
does.
a deal. um
Even if it feels insane in the moment, and we're
yeah.
like, this is so stressful, at least we know that there's someone else or many other people navigating similar chaotic experiences.
Was telling me that she was like backing up her car and knocked her mirror or something, and I literally wrote her back and I was like, oh my god, 2 weeks ago I had less children in my car and less chaos. And all I was doing was backing out of like where I had just gotten gas. And I just backed my car straight into a truck. And it was my like brand new car and dented my bumper. And I was so upset. And then I was like, ugh. And it did nothing to the other car and it totally dented my bumper. But I went and like left all my information and the whole thing. And my kids were like, what are you doing? Like,
I know. And then they're like, are you going to jail? I remember when that happened to us, we got rear-ended by someone in Adelaide and I had to like get out the car and the kids were like, don't go to jail. I was like, what?
you're
Guys,
like,
I'm just exchanging information. What, you think someone's going to put me in the back of a car and take me to jail?
yeah.
But it was so foreign for them. Like, oh, we were in a car accident.
Oh my God. Thank God that that's a foreign thing for all of them. Um,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
it's definitely different, you know, for everybody and whatever your schedule is, but so many times talk about the juggle of it. And I think what happens, especially if you're like me, I'm an empath, so I take on you from my kids. So if my kids are having like an overwhelming day and I start feeling really overwhelmed, then I'm like, wait, I need to take a beat and step back and go, okay, this is not my energy. This is like energy. There's like something going on with them. So I need to break it down because we can't be having this many hurdles going on. And this happened with Wyatt, and like somebody said something to him that I mean, he's in second grade. So like, they said something about him, like about him not brushing his hair, but like once a week or something, right? And and it really understand the like comment that was made, which I'm not going to say. And he was talking to me about it in a sort of nonchalant way, but there was like a lot of big emotions coming up throughout the day, like after that. And then I realized,
Mm-hmm.
hey, did something happen at school? And he was like, well, that comment, it made me sad. I think because I didn't really understand it. And I was like, oh, well, let's talk about it. And so then we like broke it all down, talked about it, and I was like, look, I was like, let me guess, like, we're saying you are all people that have short hair, and he was like, yes, and I was like, okay, so like they probably wish that they had long hair like you, right? Like, what's the, you know, so
Yeah.
I think that sometimes with the juggle and then the kids having so much going on in their own like lives at school or whatever it is, and things just pile up and get overwhelming. Like the laundry doesn't stop, and there's always a dish to clean. Even if you order takeout, you'll have to clean for
100%.
even with takeout. Um,
I
so
always feel like I have a to-do list, and in the morning I take a look at what it is. All right, what am I going to prioritize today? And then I'm always like, okay, so on in 3 days' time, I can get to those things further down the list because I would have wiped out all the other priority things. But then that doesn't even happen because
no,
there's just more every day.
yeah,
There's more washing. You do the big cleanup, and then you wake up in the morning and the kids have been up earlier than you and messes everywhere. And you're like, great. So I've got to clean that up first before I can hit my to-do list. And then it ends up just getting bumped further and further and further and further down. Um, yeah, and I think, you're doing this really cool series right now about slowing down. I see your
which I'm
live series that you're
on,
doing.
come on with me. I
Well,
definitely
have me, please have me. I'd love to
come.
come on. But something sort of that I've been loving while looking at the things that you're talking about. It's this concept of multitasking. I used to celebrate all my wins because I could multitask. So I used to be like, oh, I'm banging out this, and that, and getting all these things. Oh, look at me being a mama multitasker. But now I think in the last couple of months, I've been thinking about what are some ways in which I won't multitask. How can I just be fully present at the one thing at the one time? And I actually end up applying myself more when I just single in on one activity or one job rather than trying to be with the kids and like on my phone ordering the things I need to order on Amazon or getting back to the emails. That is me multitasking, and maybe I'm getting it all done and I'm ticking off my to-do list, but I'm not doing it in a way that is productive enough. It's almost like I'm giving half attention to all these different things. I feel great at the end of the day because I got so much achieved, but really when I go and like look beneath the surface, I didn't actually achieve it to the best of my ability, all of these things. So my new thing is, instead of being excited about multitasking, how can I celebrate those moments where I slow down, I really focus, and I'm not so scattered with all these other distractions. So that has been serving me in my parenting journey, in my life, with the balance. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I know that conversation has been orbiting your family as well. So let's just like dive into that for a second. Do you have any tips? How do you slow down?
I think so for me and how it feels in my body, and I've said this a few. I'm not inherently somebody who like lives in a comfortable spot of multitasking. My brain cannot, if you and I are having a conversation and then somebody else comes up and starts talking, or I need to be like looking at my phone doing something and you're talking to me, I can't do both. And so the world that we live in says that we should be doing all of those things, right? At the same time. But physically, I actually can't do it. And people have always made fun of me. They're like, oh, Sarah's like answering an email. She can't hear me. Or, oh, I'm talking to so-and-so and someone asks a question across the way. And I'm like, that I didn't even catch one, right? And so inside of me, it feels really stressful. It actually creates anxiety for me when to do all of these things at once. And yes, I accomplish a lot of things, and that's great, like, okay, got a whole bunch of stuff done. The things that are happening where I'm like multitasking throughout my day, I feel really like I have a little bit of like anxiety because I feel like I'm doing it, but I'm not like I always feel like there's something like weighing over me where I'm like, I don't know, was I fully focused on that phone call? I feel like I was trying to write an email back at the same time, and like, did I send this to that person? I checked it off my list, and like there's just, I don't know, it just feels a little undone. So that was sort of that was like the reasoning behind it for me to explore this a little bit, because with my children, the multitask kind of drives them crazy, and
Yeah.
they don't love it that like trying to work from home and answer emails, also play with them, like it doesn't feel good to me. I totally understand that, right? And so some of my most favorite moments with my kids have been moments where everything else goes away and we just do like a walk together for 30 minutes, or we're like playing outside, or we have a picnic, or like there's something throughout the day that, even if it's 5 minutes, right? But we do it together. Even if together we make it a game and we try to fold the laundry together. And by the way, like the way that they fold the laundry is not great, but right? Who cares? We make a thing about it, and the three of us sit there and we're like going through all the laundry together and separating all the stuff. And even that is a moment where we're together and we're talking, and it's me and Esme and Wyatt, and we're doing something, an activity together. And yes, it has to do with housework, but we're like connecting and talking and like,
Yeah.
you know, down. And I was talking about this on Monday, um, when I was working in Toronto, shooting that show for Netflix, flying back and forth every week. It was really, really hard for me to be away from my kids and to do that. The way that I reconnected with Wyatt during that time, have morning tea, and we would get up with the sun, would like make tea and do the tea ceremony, and he would serve me, and we would chat as the sun is coming up. And we had this moment, it was like 20 minutes of the day where we would reconnect and just do that. And it was a slow thing. It didn't take a lot of time, and it felt really good and really connected for it.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, and so that's like kind of where some of this come from is because Eric, my husband, is somebody who can multitask and feels amazing, gets it all done, fully focuses on everything. You know, he can just do it.
Wow.
I don't know. Everybody's brain is different, right?
I wonder if you should do an experiment with him where you're like, no multitasking today. Let's see how that feels. And see if he thinks he's achieving at the same level. But maybe it just that doesn't work for him to focus on one thing at a time. Because I think I'm probably more like Eric in that like I'm wired to do that. But
Yes.
the reflection from my husband is like, I want you to try slowing down, and then you won't. And usually it manifests itself, because we're talking about wife life too. Usually it manifests itself in me being more distracted when I'm with him or in a conversation with him. I'm like, yeah, babe, I will totally be present with you. Just let me finish the email. I'm in the middle of doing something, or you can talk at me, but I still also have to message back and order furniture and all those things. And recently he's been like, you don't have to smash these things up together. You really can find the dedicated time for each thing. So he's now been asking me like, hey, can I have your full attention for 5 minutes? I just want to talk to you about something. I'm like, yes, you may. 1 second, let me put my phone down. Here I am. I'm here. I'm present. I'm with you.
Oh
And
my
it
God.
feels so much better.
I love that. And it's really funny that you say that because Eric used to um, be like, okay, you have my full attention. And then it would be like a little overwhelming for me. I'd be like, okay,
You're
you're
like, I
full
better make this good.
on. I really just wanted to talk to you about, you know, what we were gonna have for dinner, but I don't need your for that, you know.
Yeah. Oh
um,
my goodness.
but
It's so funny.
it very much blends well with this whole like thing that's, you know, in the media now, which is sleep procrastination, where we're all so time poor, either being at home and working from home and then also having our time with our kids, or like whatever the last 2 years has created differently in your life right now. They say that a lot of women and mothers have this thing where they go to bed at night, tell me if this is you, put the kids to bed, and then like so spent from not having any alone time or any personal time that you just like scroll or you're like trying to phone. And then instead of getting the sleep you should be getting, 2 more hours doing something um, that really is like, it's not healthy for you because you really should be getting that sleep, but you're so desperate to have time that's just your own that you can control, right? That you're like,
100%. 100%. And it's like mindless activities. You'll get on your phone, you're like, doo-doo-doo. I now really try, because I would do that. I'd be so exhausted. I'd hop into bed and I was like, I just want this little time for me just to do dumb things like scroll through Instagram
yeah,
or buy something from Amazon or whatever it is. When I know I feel best, having my nighttime ritual, which for me, when I'm really practicing it in a healthy way, and I I think it's almost just making that choice. Like, all right, tonight I'm committing to doing my ritual because I know it's self-care. And that is taking a bath uninterrupted because the kids are asleep. I drink my kombucha. I sent a picture to Sarah last night, like in the bath drinking my kombucha, listening to a podcast, and it just feels so good. So I have my kombucha, get into my robe, lie into bed. I sip my dream right before bed, and then I go to sleep. And dream is my love well drink that I have, and it helps me lull into a really beautiful sleep. But so often it's like kids will be asleep, I'll run in here and I'll be like, oh, I haven't checked emails. Oh, what's happening on Instagram? And then you lose an hour and a half, and all of a sudden it's 11:30, and you know you're up at 6 a.m. in the morning. So
yeah,
it's also not great.
yeah. I mean, so, you know, there's like a lot of these that are out ice in the morning, meaning like ice bath or like a cold shower or whatever that is, and the health benefits of doing that. And then warming at night, right? They talk about like anything that's warming, like a sauna or a sauna blanket or a warm bath covers, putting socks on. And I think that can be really cool, make part like a personal meditation time for you. So if you like have one of those sauna blankets, or if you like have a sauna, or if you wrap up in a blanket and you after taking warm, they have these like detoxifying baths that you can do with get bath, and afterwards you like wrap up in a blanket for 10 minutes with socks on. Of course, Teresa's checking on that baby. And oh, she's so cute. Um, and there's something about doing that, taking that time. If you took 10 minutes and like, because Teresa loves doing these baths at night, but you take that time in the bath and you do what you need to do. And then afterward, you're setting an intention for, okay, this is my space. And now I'm going to go to bed and I'll sleep. It's so
Yeah.
healthy, I think, and so good that you do that, because half the time I'm so busy in the day that I get to night and I'm like, okay, now I need to answer the emails for work for tomorrow. When really, like, I'm only doing that because I feel like I wasn't productive enough in work that day that I like get it in before the next day, you know? And it's like, you don't really have to do that. Like, set it aside to do each thing, that you're not sitting up at night going like, you
Totally,
know.
and catching up on all the things that you missed and feeling, you and I, we both are business owners. Like, we hold down certain aspects of our business and all the other different things that we do, and you don't want to let your side down. So like, oh, I'm going to get to that. I got to make sure I reply back. Oh, like last night, I felt I was falling asleep, and then I was looking at the time. I was like, all right, it's about 11:15. Like, I should have been asleep about 45 minutes ago. But I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to write this email back, and it was time sensitive, but I knew it was going to be a detailed, longer email. So I just thought, oh, do I leave it to the morning? Or, all right, I'm just going to get it done, because I knew that I would then wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I've got to do the email. So then I sat for another 30 minutes and I went through and got the email done. But this is why I read, there's this great website called Zen Habits. And it's this guy called Leo Babauta. I can't ever say his last name, sorry. But he is an amazing writer on simplifying your life, slowing down, folding more Zen into your world. And there was this article that he wrote, like 5 simple steps to simplifying your life. And one of them was curating your day and really trimming the fat from your day. Taking a look, maybe it's the night before, maybe it's the morning of, all right, what things do I really want to achieve today? I need to have at least 2 hours of focus on work. So when am I going to shift that? Are we shifting it earlier? Are we moving it to later in the day? I've got to do school pickup and I've got to unpack the girls' clothes. So I've been trying this practice of really getting more organized surrounding my day. And so I tried this yesterday. It got to the end of the day and it sort of got a bit more rushed. But the first half of the day went really well. And I knew what time I had to wake up, and I had to make the lunch for Isaac, and we had to get out at a certain time to get him there on time. And I loved this idea of curating my day. And any of the other stuff that isn't important can get trimmed, and maybe it'll find its way back into your week at some point, but maybe it won't. And maybe it's like another way to purge the things that aren't fulfilling and aren't serving you in your week. So I love this, and I've been practicing it, and I'd like to keep it up because it feels like I have more space in my day and it's not so busy.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that rush, rush, rush feeling. And it's just depleting at the end of the day. It just feels really like, oof. My feet physically hurt at the end of the day doing so much.
Yeah. And I feel like we're sort of, and we talk about this in our book, but we're like told that you know, the super mom is like the mom that's doing all the things and like everything's going well and she's
with a
juggling.
smile on their face and looking
Yeah.
perfect.
But like it's just not always like that. And
Yeah.
you're gonna have days that don't, it just doesn't.
We've hurt ourselves.
Yeah. You're gonna have
She
days
had
where,
one thing she just did was she spat up as we
yeah,
were talking. I looked down and she's like painting a rainbow with a spit up. She's like this. I'm like, this is perfect timing. This is lucky I've got a wipe for you.
out. You're gonna have days where your baby throws up and makes a rainbow out of it,
And she makes a rainbow.
or you're
No,
gonna
my
have
hair.
your baby tries to poop in the
The
closet.
closet? That is so great.
The other day, she's like playing around a lot with the potty. She peed in the potty and then pulled the thing out to dump it in the toilet and dumped it all over the floor on accident. Great.
Well done, Linda. Yay.
Unrealistic expectations. And I think that's so, you know, we like praise and sort of see this very glorified and right? Like, yes, it's amazing. But that's beautiful pictures and travels, and I love seeing that people are happy and the things that they're. And then, but also you just have to know that it's not all like that all the time, right? There's other stuff going on.
It's the highlight reel.
Yeah,
as we said with our book.
Yeah, there's just other things that are going to be going on, and for mothers to know that there's going to be days that just feel like I and I felt like all I did all cook and clean the kitchen and I didn't get any time on the floor with them, or I was in the car like taking people places all day long, or whatever it is, or I feel so disconnected from work when I really should be focusing on work, or you know, whatever that may be. So what you're talking about, trimming the fat and kind of looking at the day and curating the day, I think will probably help any of us to and accomplish things in the day. Where at the end of the day, when you know are cleaning up dinner and you're getting out of bed, you're like, wow, okay, I did get my work done. I did get to play Uno with my kid, or I did get to make dinner. Like yesterday, I made dinner and I started making it at 3 something and it was done by 5 and Eric wasn't home and it was just me and the kids. And then I got them all showered. They were all in PJs. We had an hour and a half. I wanted to play Uno with Wyatt. I really wanted to play. Winter kept destroying the game, so then we like paused it until Dad got home. But I was like, wow, how did we eat and get everything done? Like, I don't know. Like things were just a little bit more planned out yesterday, and
Yeah.
it's just not always like, and that's okay, you know.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it only takes about maybe 15 minutes to plan the day. So if in the morning you can, before you start jumping into the morning routine, like just take 15 minutes, you can still be lying in bed and think, all right, let's look at the day. So today, for instance, I know I have this live and then I have an interview for my movie, The Twin. I have like a magazine interview at 2:00, but I also know that I have to leave the house by 2:20 with everyone in the car to go get Isaac from school. And so I have no babysitter. I have, you know, I'm taking everyone with me. But to get everyone in the car in 5 minutes is insane. So it's insane. So I know, all right, at 1:45, 15 minutes before my interview, I'm going to get everyone dressed, everyone ready, shoes on, car packed, so that I know I can finish the interview and 5 minutes later, everyone can just jump in the car and the car's packed and ready to go.
Yeah.
I didn't do this yesterday. And I got into a situation where I was running around like crazy trying to find things to put in the car. And I ended up driving out of the garage so fast that I hit the mirror on the way out. And I was like, oh, if I'd actually just taken the time to slow down, pre-plan ahead so that the car was fully packed with the baby bag and the spare clothes and all sorts of things, then I wouldn't have been so rush, rush, rush. So I find that when I practice this conscious taking a look at the day and really shifting things around so it feels easier, it just ends up making the day run so much smoother.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm doing right now.
I didn't see that we had some questions in here.
Oh yeah, great.
Tips for writing motivation. Um,
I didn't hear that because I had someone going, mm, mm, mm.
Somebody said, I'd love to know your tips for writing motivation when you're busy and tired. And I think one of my favorite tips for writing is that if you don't know what your idea is yet and you want to like writing something every day in your phone, in your notes on your phone or in the paper, computer, if you can just write a little bit every day, then eventually like it's gonna flow through, right? Even if you're a gratitude journal, setting an intention of like a, you know, like what you're manifesting for your future, like sometimes ideas come out, right? So
That's right.
or you know, write down like 5 things, sort of write about what those 5 things are. So you could be like, when I was 15 and I was in high school, and just start writing something about that. Like there's also writing experiments that you can do, but a gratitude journal, I think a lot comes through gratitude journals, right?
So funny you say that. I was at storage yesterday getting some of the boxes to unpack, and I found this empty gratitude journal. And I was like, am I gonna take that? Am I gonna leave that here? I was like, I'm gonna take that. So I pulled it out of my storage, put it next to my bedside table, and it's just a way to, at the end of the day, write all the things that we're grateful for, puts things into perspective. I also can use those journals as a bit of a brain dump too. Sometimes you have lots of ideas and things you want to do, and it's just the committee going 100 miles an hour, and you can just dump it all down on paper before you go to bed. And I find that it makes for a much more restful sleep because you're not being kept awake by all these thoughts of, oh, I should have done that. Oh, what a good idea this is. And when I have insomnia, which I have maybe once a month, not often anymore, luckily, I actually find that really great ideas come to me in the middle of the night. And so the wonderful thing about having a phone with us all the time is we have that little notes app. And if things pop up in the middle of the day, if you're trying to write something, just jotting it down on a note that you can look at the end of the day and be like, oh my God, yeah, I did come up with that. That's really interesting. I'm going to take a look at what that means. So yeah, I find that great. And then, yeah, gosh, you can source inspiration from everywhere in your day, I think. And sometimes I find with writing, not forcing it, when I sit down to write, sometimes my mind will just go blank.
Yeah.
And it's the same as when I'm doing my The Well series, when I'm talking about love well and we have a subject. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of talking and everything will just go, eh. So having some time in your week, if something pops up and like, oh, okay, I'm having sort of a download right now, I'm gonna take 5 minutes, I'm gonna write this all down and set it aside and I'll come back to it later. But I find that, you know, those little moments of inspiration come out of left field sometimes, and then you just have to stop, listen, take note of it, and then keep going.
Well, I read a book Signs where she talks about how the puts things in front of you, and then it's not necessarily that like that's something that you're going to grasp on, but maybe like there's an idea or something that comes into your mind, right? So you can say like, that's my theme of light or the universe that's like put something in, and you either grasp or it just goes away. So it's like little things can kind of dropped in front of you, and you can either sit down and like brain dump them, or write about them, or notice them, or maybe intuitively, like, you know, something, idea is there, but you're sort of like pushing it away. If there's something back to you, like, notice it for, meditate on it. I don't even know how to meditate, but what I do is I just sit.
I would say I'm not a great meditator.
I'm
Which,
not
you know what, that goes against everything they talk about. You should never label yourself good or bad at meditating. But I would say I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable when I meditate because there's a resistance to meditation. I don't know if you're the same way, but I'll sit and be like, all right, now's my moment to meditate. And then all that goes through my mind is, oh, if I could really be using this time to do something else. Oh, I haven't written back to that email. Oh my gosh, what are we going to have for dinner? How's the state of my life? What's going on? Like, all the thoughts just come and infiltrate the moment I try and slow down and clear everything. But, you know, as I say, that even is meditating, just observing without the judgment. If you can do that, then you're on your way to meditating. But there are lots of ways that people can meditate. You can go for a walk in nature. I know you love going for walks in nature, and that's its own form of meditation. But it certainly lowers your anxiety, lowers stress. It is such a beautiful practice if you can lean into it. Some people love doing it by going to yoga, or for me, listening to a podcast. There's this amazing podcast I want to share with everyone called The Law of Attraction Tribe by Stephanie Keith. I found her when I was very heavily pregnant with Prairie, and she was the woman I would listen to when Mark was away in America, and I had this little 2-day-old baby on my own with all the other kids. And we'd have the day, and then her and I would just be together, this little newborn, and I would have my rose quartz crystals out, and I had my salt lamp going, and I was like, I'm really feeling the vibe of this. Usually I'd be listening to true crime, and I was not feeling that at all. I was like, I'm really into this idea of Stephanie Keith and what she has to say on the Law of Attraction Tribe, and just, it's so uplifting and so inspirational. And for me, that's my own form of meditating. It's just listening to these wise words of this woman she creates an environment where I feel really hopeful and really excited and that anything is possible. So I just wanted to throw out that little recommendation there. Oh, about to get interrupted by someone. Who is it? Who is it? It's Forrest. Hi. Oh, there's people at the door. Interested? Do you want to ask Nelly who they are? Don't know who they are.
Okay.
Someone's at the door.
Great.
I think Nelly will handle that. That's our babysitter.
Cool. I was just reading something that somebody said. But now it went away. I don't know why. I can't touch it anymore. Somebody wants to know what that podcast is called, The Law of Attraction.
Oh, yeah, Law of Attraction Tribe podcast by Stephanie Keith.
I love that.
Well,
when I wrote the children's book, the children's story, it was one of those, I was like breastfeeding winter, and it was a little thing, a little thought, a little, and I started thinking about this like beginning of this rhyme and this name. Somebody had asked us about baby names that we haven't used, and you know, there was a baby name we almost named Winter, and her name like popped into my head, and then I sort of had this couple lines for the book, and then all of a sudden like the whole thing came out of me. We're talking about writing, and so I just started like writing it as I was breastfeeding her on my phone in my notes section. So my point being that like sometimes, and if you just take a moment to like let that flow happen and write it down, then you know, to try to get some writing done. And maybe it. Somebody asked us on here if how do you like allow yourself to trust a babysitter or a nanny for the first time as a parent?
Well, I guess for you it's different because you've had the one nanny the whole time. So
Yes.
you knew instinctively
Well,
that she was your person.
we had other babysitters before.
Oh, you did.
Um,
You did. Okay. When did you get Sonia? How old was Wyatt?
when I went to shoot a movie in Atlanta, American Made, she came with me. So he was not quite 2. So I had
Yeah.
babysitters for that. Um,
Okay.
that would help out. But I do think um, for me with babysitters, it's a lot about like home and doing stuff at home that I need done, and having that be a time when the babysitter's with the baby and just doing that,
Yes.
like allowing space, the baby's getting comfortable with the babysitter. I'm sort of noticing like everything that they do in the space and watching them get, and it's not until later that I like feel comfortable leaving. Does that make sense?
That is so true. Like we have our rotation of people who we use. Like this week, for the mornings, I've been using this really gorgeous girl, Nellie, who I only met maybe last year. And she comes and sporadically does babysitting. But and so for the first 2 weeks, I was just at the house and I would use her to be like, hey, I've got 4 hours of work I need to do. I'm just going to be over in this room. If you need me for anything, this is how we do things. This is how we communicate. We practice conscious discipline, and she would listen to the ways that I would set a boundary for the kids or talk them down through a tantrum. Every child's different. I know that if Forrest has big feelings, he likes to self-regulate, whereas if Poet had big feelings, she wants comfort and companionship during that moment. So you just sort of explain how to meet the needs of your child, and then you're there in the space with them for a while, and then they learn and you learn how they like to do things, and you just find a happy medium, I think. But yeah, usually in Australia, my mum's the one who is around because she lives on our property with us. And so mum, even though she's a bit more old school, she's just learnt from us, and she's also their nana, which is really, really lovely. So not everyone has access to family, but my mum is the person I usually lean on the most. And the first time I left the baby was like 2 weeks ago. So, and I left her for 2 hours and I just kept checking in and she was totally fine. So I did it over a period of time that I knew she'd be napping. And, but it's always hard. It's always going to be hard to entrust someone else with your little children. But I think instinctively, you choose someone who just adores and appreciates and sees children and really is passionate about spending time with kids. And I think you can tell pretty much in the first 1 or 2 times that you're around them, if it's really their passion, if they get happiness out of being around children. So, yeah.
And the gut knows. I mean, you intuitively, I think you're going to know if you feel like a good energy there with you and the babysitter and the baby, and just seeing their energy with your kid when you're feeling babysitter's like in the other room and you're sort of listening in and you can hear how it's well, we should wrap up. So,
I'm getting distracted. I'm multitasking. I'm like making the baby laugh.
Yeah, love that she's like there. Guys, for any of the questions that I didn't answer from the question, I'll answer them on Instagram. I'll back and answer.
Also, Sarah, your lip balm is
Yeah.
saving me right now.
Oh, thank you. The Bayo lip balm.
My lips, do you see all the way around? My lips got so bad, and it always happens because I'm changing climates. I'm coming from Australia to America. It always happens the first 2 weeks I'm here. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, thank God for Bayo. I was stuck like this for the first week.
Uh, yeah,
I've been
very,
putting Bayo on the whole way around, and now I can move my lips again.
well, I'm really excited because we actually have a new product that we're announcing soon, and I'm going to be sending it to you to tell
I know,
everybody.
I'm so excited.
But
For Mother's Day.
yeah, it's definitely for the ladies.
Yes.
Um,
Some self-care.
so exactly. Thank you guys all for joining us today for our book tour. Thank you so much. If you've purchased, want to get it for somebody for Mother, get it on Amazon at it's called Mama Guide, or you can go to our website yourzenmama.com or click Teresa's bio, click our
Yeah.
bio. Um, and you will be able to find it. It's a great gift, and I think it's like, just amazing for Mother's Day. So, but thank you so much, and I love you.
Thanks, everyone. So much love. We're going to be sharing this on both of our platforms so you can
Yeah.
rewatch, tag your friends if they missed it.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you guys. Keep it up. Mwah.
Bye. See you next time.
Bye. Okay, now I need to end this. Are you sure you want to end it?